I've spent years trying to build muscle naturally, and let me start by saying it's not easy. There's so much misinformation out there on how to build muscle as a natural, and even if you were to find the right information, there's so much of it that it's so easy to get overwhelmed and not take action. I felt that firsthand as I've gone through phases where my goal was strictly to be as bulky as possible and other phases where my goal was to get as lean as possible. Over the years of going through dirty bulks, clean bulks, cutting phases, trying different supplements, as well as constantly modifying my workout plan, I went through a lot of trial and error. And I want you to avoid making the same mistakes that I did so you can see results as fast as possible by focusing on the things that truly matter when it comes to building muscle while ignoring the rest. So today I want to go over the biggest muscle building mistakes that you're probably making that are preventing you from seeing the gains and the results that you deserve. Let's jump right in and start with the biggest workout related mistake that beginners and advanced people make: always sticking to the same rep range. There is a rep range that is believed to be better for building muscle, and even though there's a lot of debate about what the best rep range is, most people will agree that it falls somewhere between 6 to 12 reps. The best results that I noticed were always within a narrower rep range of roughly 5 or 6 to 8 reps. However, by constantly sticking to the same rep range, you're going to have a lot of trouble making progress, especially after you're no longer a beginner and the results start slowing down. This is why you want to spend time with 3 different rep ranges: low, moderate, and high. Your moderate rep range could be 6 to 8 reps. Your low rep range could be roughly 3 to 4 reps. And your high rep range could be 12 to 15 reps. You would spend 2 to 3 weeks working on each rep range, and you would do this because each rep range has benefits that'll transfer over to the other rep ranges, helping you get stronger and build muscle faster. The 3 to 4 rep range allows you to lift a much heavier weight, which will then make the weight that you were using for your moderate and higher rep ranges a lot easier, allowing you to lift heavier weights for those rep ranges as well. With a high rep range of 12, 15, or even 20 reps, you'll be increasing your endurance and your body will adapt to an increased production of lactic acid. This will help you squeeze out extra reps at the moderate rep range and even the low rep range with the very heavy weight. Breaking up your workout into periods of low, moderate, and high rep ranges is known as periodization, and this will allow you to continuously increase the intensity of your workouts in the shortest amount of time possible, ultimately leading to some very impressive results. Your body is very good at adapting, and periodization is a great way to constantly keep it guessing, which is a big plus when it comes to building muscle. The next mistake is undervaluing the importance of food. If you happen to be a hard gainer, you have to eat a lot of food to build muscle. If you're not a hard gainer, you still have to eat a lot of food, just not quite as much. Muscle is metabolically active tissue, and due to our biology and the way that we've evolved, our bodies try to conserve energy whenever they can to ensure that we don't starve. So from an energy conservation standpoint, your body doesn't want to build muscle, and you're going to have to force it into growth. You won't build very much muscle if you're not doing the right thing in the kitchen. Healthy protein, carbs, and fats are the fuel that's required to build muscle. Most people are aware that more protein is required because it's made up of amino acids, which are the building blocks to your muscles. However, most people, especially people with fast metabolisms, are not eating enough in total for the day. Eating enough carbohydrates like brown rice, oatmeal, and sweet potatoes, for example, can be equally as valuable as eating enough protein when it comes to supplying your body with the energy it needs to add on muscle mass. Fats are very valuable for increasing your testosterone levels as well as other hormones that are responsible for growth. If you're doing all the right things in the gym, but you're still not growing, consider adding on 500 calories a day to your diet. If you're still not growing after a couple weeks, consider adding on another 500 calories. By doing this, I promise you, you'll be gaining weight and adding on muscle in no time. But to get enough calories in for the day, you'll have to avoid this next mistake, which is having too low of a meal frequency. When you're actively trying to build muscle, in order to take in the amount of food that you have to take in to get the job done, you're gonna have to be eating many times throughout the day. There are a lot of diet plans centered around fasting and decreasing meal frequency, like the Lean Gains approach or the Warrior Diet or the 1 meal a day diet. And even though these are all great diet plans to maintain muscle mass and to lose body fat, unless you're a beginner, they're not going to be the best approach for building the maximum amount of muscle, especially in the shortest amount of time. Like I said, you're going to have to eat a lot of food. When you're bulking correctly, even if you're having 6 or 7 meals a day, you're going to feel uncomfortably full during some of those meals. It's going to be very difficult to get enough calories by limiting your feeding window and making it shorter. When I was seriously trying to bulk up, I was eating 8 to 9 times a day. Now, even though most of you won't have to take it to this kind of extreme, I do recommend having at least 5 to 6 meals a day to help you take in enough daily calories to build muscle faster. Now, it's important to note that most of those meals should be real food. Sure, you can throw in 1 or 2 protein shakes, but the rest should all be prepped meals. Too many people make the mistake of overvaluing supplementation when it comes to building muscle, which is actually another big mistake that may be preventing you from seeing faster gains. You don't need to go crazy with supplements because you only really need a very small select few. You can start with a protein powder, and there's value to both a slow and a fast digesting protein powder. The slow digesting protein powder you can take before bed or at other points of the day where you would go for a long period of time without food. The fast digesting protein powder you usually want to take right after your workout. Casein is an example of a slow digesting protein, and whey is an example of a fast digesting protein. Then you also want to get maybe some regular creatine monohydrate as well as a pre-workout to improve your strength and performance during your actual workout sessions. Just keep in mind you don't want to take the pre-workout all the time because your body will develop a tolerance and you won't feel the energy boosting effects. So I recommend taking it 2 to 3 times a week at the most on the days that you plan to really push yourself. And that's all you really need for supplements: protein, creatine, and pre-workout. Let's move on to another mistake regarding your workouts: not trying to develop your neuromuscular connection. Now, neuromuscular connection is exactly what it sounds like. It's essentially the ability of your brain to communicate with your muscles efficiently. For example, when you're trying to build up your chest and you're doing a chest press, you should be concentrating on working the chest muscle that you're intending to work. Although it will take time for your mind and your muscles to begin to communicate better, a couple simple things you could do to speed up this connection is go slow on your way down, focus your mind on the muscle that you're actually targeting, flex the targeted muscle during and in between sets, and ensure that you have proper form. Keep in mind that breaking down your muscles is essential for growth, but don't make the mistake of working out too much. If you work out too much when you're trying to bulk up, it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. Remember what we're trying to do here. When we're trying to lose weight or burn fat, we want to create a caloric deficit. So in this situation, the more we work out, the better it is for creating a negative energy balance. However, the same cannot be said for building muscle because you want to create a caloric surplus. That's why I want you eating a lot of food throughout the day. A lot of people are making the mistake of doing tons of cardio because they're afraid of putting on some fat while they're trying to bulk up and build muscle. If you do tons of cardio like this, or if you just work out multiple times a day or for really long durations, you're going to be drawing away energy from that caloric surplus that you're trying so hard to create. This is why I highly recommend that if you're serious about gaining muscle and you're no longer a beginner, focus only on gaining muscle and don't worry too much about gaining some fat in the process. Obviously, be sensible with your food choices, but it's okay if you put on a little bit of fat while building muscle. You could always cut it down later. Even though you want to limit the total amount of calories expended per week from working out, you still want to make sure that your weight training sessions are very intense. This is the next big mistake people make. They don't go heavy. Even if you follow the periodization strategy that I talked about in the beginning of this video, but you don't use heavy weight, you won't see the results. If you're aiming for 8 reps, you should be using a weight that's heavy enough to barely be able to squeeze out the 8 reps. If you're doing 9 or 10 reps, you have to increase the weight. Same thing goes for other rep ranges. By the last set, you should be hitting failure. Natural lifters need to go heavy because they do not have elevated levels of protein synthesis 24/7 like steroid users do. Naturals need to stimulate protein synthesis through the workout itself. The higher and the longer the rate of protein synthesis, the more muscle you will produce. Steroid users can get away with high rep workouts because they have a higher protein synthesis level all day due to the drugs that they're taking, but naturals do not have that same luxury. You must lift heavy if you want to build the maximum amount of muscle as a natural. It's not always easy to break through plateaus and lift heavier and heavier weight. Periodization is one way to break through strength plateaus, but if you're making the mistake of not switching up your training style and you don't confuse your body, it makes it a lot harder to progress. Besides periodization, you could also incorporate things like supersets, where you do 2 sets of 2 separate exercises back to back with no break in between. You can also do drop sets, where you drop the weight on the same exercise multiple times with no break to help exhaust the muscle that's being targeted. There's also trisets, opposing muscle group training, rest pause training, and much more. By constantly switching up your workout, you keep your body guessing and make faster progress. On a side note, I should mention that with each method, you do want to give yourself at least 3 weeks to adapt and progress before switching to a new style of training. Another thing that you should do with your workout is concentrate predominantly on using barbells and dumbbells, not selectorizer machinery. Many people make the mistake of thinking that all those fancy machines at the gym are better at building muscle than the barbells and the dumbbells that have been literally used for centuries. Barbells and dumbbells will usually stimulate much more muscle fibers, they have a free range of motion, and they will help you strengthen your stabilizer muscles, allowing you to lift heavier weight, leading to greater gains. You can incorporate stabilizer equipment, but save it for the end of your workout and incorporate free weights for the majority of your workout instead. The very last mistake I want to go over is not being consistent. Building muscle takes a lot of hard work, time, and consistency. If you're a man training naturally and you're no longer a beginner and you do everything right, you're still only going to put on about 1 pound of muscle per month, half a pound if you're a woman, and these would be considered great results. Without consistency, you're just going to yo-yo back and forth between gaining muscle and losing it. Ultimately, you won't allow yourself the chance for your progress and your gains to stack on top of each other for some truly impressive results that last. Make sure you're being consistent. It's one of the most important things you can do. That's it, guys. I really hope this video has helped you out. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, for those of you that are looking for a done-for-you program that can help you build muscle fast, visit my website where we're running a challenge right now designed to help you build muscle in only 6 weeks. You get a workout plan, a custom diet plan, as well as an accountability coach to help mentor and guide you through the entire process. This takes all the guesswork out and helps you hit your goals faster without any of the grueling trial and error that just wastes your time. To find out more about our 6-week challenge, you can click the link somewhere around here, or you could visit my website directly at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon. Pump it.